Welcome to the Roy Rundown, a podcast designed to share insights and secrets from top experts in the college sports landscape, guiding you along your own path to success. Join us in real time as we build Roy, dive into the latest NIL trends, and uncover stories from the movers and shakers in the sports business space. You'll hear from an all-star lineup of guests, including athletes, coaches, agents, fans, athletic administrators, and more. Whether you're a student athlete, passionate fan, or anyone in between, this is your go-to resource for leveling up in the new age of college sports.
Hello, college sports fans. I am Brandon Brown, your host of the Roy Rundown, and welcome to another episode. It's every time I jump on here, the NIL world is constantly evolving. There's new things that come out every day that just, as a sports fan, a college sports fan, you just really you have to scratch your head sometimes and say, like, I cannot believe what it's become, what college athletics looks like, basketball, football, especially at the forefront, but you're starting to get women's college basketball involved more and more. You're hearing more and more about baseball, hockey. So it really is kind of expanding, throughout the entire scope of college sports. And, the stories kind of get crazier and crazier in some ways. And in some ways it's right on par with what it should be. It just kind of depends on where it's happening, who the athletes are, what the sports are, and all that. All of that does make a little bit of a difference. But, at the end of the day, it's just so different from everything I've ever been used to. I'm 40 years old. I don't consider myself an old man yet, but I am starting to see some things that are happening in the NIL world that just make you go, I just don't know how much more change there can be and how much more, influence there's going to be because of money and money alone. Because then it just really starts to take away from everything that I think most people love about college sports. But again, some NIL deals make perfect sense, and things like them should have been happening for a long time. Like, it just really never made sense that athletes couldn't make any money. That's just dumb. Like, they're very marketable. Clearly, we were starting to see that. And, they should be able to go sign a bunch of autographs or sell jerseys with their name and number on them, or, get a cut of the TV deals that they are the major reason for. Where it's a little bit muckier and you're not quite sure is the pay for play, and guys are just really signing monster deals right out of high school before ever playing any down of football in college. And that's where you kind of wonder, like, is it being done correctly? Is it fair? Is the athlete going to do their part? Are the schools and the boosters and whoever's coming up with the money going to do their part? And it just all gets a little bit crazy. And recently, the Under Armour All-American game was played, and the Athletic was able to talk to, a bunch of players in that game. You're talking about the highest level high school recruits in the country committed to programs across the major conferences. Usually, every once in a while, there'll be an under the radar kind of guy in there. But these are the cream of the crop. These are the blue chip athletes. These are the 4- and 5-star kids that all the big dog schools want, and they go and compete in an All-American game and, kind of put their talents on display. And they were able to speak with a couple reporters from The Athletic, and they were granted anonymity to talk about NIL deals that they either took or didn't take, and how much money they were for, and why'd they pick what they picked, and how did that come together, and et cetera. And it's, some of the results were kind of what you'd expect, and some of them were still a little bit refreshing in some ways. I mean, the numbers are big. You're talking $300,000, $500,000, $750,000 deals, and we know that there are deals bigger than that. Several big-time quarterbacks, including right here in my home state, are getting, multi-million-dollar deals. I'm referring to Bryce Underwood, who flipped from LSU to Michigan for upwards of $8 to $10 million. It's been reported, which is crazy, but that's the going rate. It's not crazy if everybody's doing it, and everybody is doing it. But some of the recruits have said some pretty interesting things. Some of them have said that they didn't take the biggest deal. All the deals were big, but a couple of the players said that they left anywhere from $150,000 to $300,000 on the table and decided to commit to a school where, yeah, sure, I got a big deal and the NIL money was great, but I also felt a better connection to that program, and that that is kind of refreshing. Great. Get your money, make a good NIL deal, make an investment for yourself, life-changing money for a lot of these young men and women, but also, pick a situation that's going to be good for yourself so you're not in the transfer portal in 8 months. And again, I also don't have anything against the transfer portal, anyone who goes in there, but that seems to be running rampant as well. I mean, they're just today or yesterday, a young man, a quarterback recruit. I'm not going to try to say his last name because it's Polynesian and I would butcher it. His first name is Sam, quarterback commit for the Oregon Ducks. He was on the sidelines for Oregon's loss to Ohio State. 2025 prospect, hasn't even, he's an early enrollee and he's in the transfer portal already. He signed his letter of intent, 3 weeks ago, arrived in Eugene, stuck around for a little bit, and now he's in the portal. And that's not really what that was for, but that's the kind of thing that's happening now because, kids are just, they're trying to find their best opportunity and they're trying to capitalize on what may end up being a very small window for some of these guys. And it's really hard to fault the athletes when this is the system that's in place. They didn't design the system. They're just trying to maximize whatever they can with said system. And that's where it gets a little bonkers. Another prospect or another commit, recruit, high school player, whatever you want to call him, at the Under Armour game also said that they did not take the biggest offer. And they left upwards of $300,000 on the table. And, that's like I said, that's life-changing money. A lot of times you don't hear about the exact amounts for these NIL offers. It's usually reported or potential or in a range, but they're big numbers. I mean, they're monstrous 6-figure deals, and in some cases 7 and even 8-figure deals for high school players to go to some of the biggest programs in the country. And look, it's not my money. It's not most fans' money. But if a booster or some collective or some conglomerate wants to shell out that kind of money to ensure that some of the best players go to said school, then so be it. It's all allowed now. And again, I like the idea of athletes picking a school for other reasons than just money. I am sure that there are some prospects out there that picked a school that said, that school's going to give me $800,000. That one's going to give me $850,000. I'm going to $850,000, and didn't even bother, taking in anything else, like the campus lifestyle, proximity to home, how much playing time they might get, how well they get along with the coaching staff. Do they have any acquaintances there? Do they have a program that they want to study? I'm sure that tons of prospects have made a decision based solely on how much money they're going to get. But I do like the fact that I'm at least hearing, with these guys being anonymous and hopefully speaking truthfully and freely, that they're making a decision based on what's best for them, with the money thing being part of the deal. And that's how it should be. Again, I don't think NIL was designed to be a pay-for-play type of scheme, even though that's mostly what it is now for recruits. And let's be honest, players that are already at schools and then jumping in the transfer portal, you're hearing more and more about tampering and things like that. It's just a bummer because there are so many good things that come along with NIL and that can really change the lives of some of these guys. And then there's some stuff that you just wish wasn't really a part of it. But that's how things kind of work. When you get big money involved and you get some power involved and you get some brokers involved that want to feel, like they're part of a machine, it can get a little out of hand, and we're definitely seeing that. But a little bit of a breath of fresh air, hearing that some kids, even some of the most coveted prospects in the country, are still making their choice based on their connection with a school and the staff, and because they feel comfortable there, along with getting a solid NIL deal. I'll take that for now. So that's the latest and greatest on some of the NIL developments with high school prospects getting ready to embark on the next chapter of their lives. So stay tuned for the next episode of the Roy Rundown as we continue to talk all things college sports, NIL, and transfer portal. Take care.